Hello, today we're going to be learning about Epaulette's mate. Last week we learned about opera mate, and this was a puzzle from the end of the video. If you haven't already, I suggest you watch the video on opera mate if you don't know what opera mate is so that you can learn. This puzzle is white to play, and if you haven't already solved the puzzle, I suggest you do it now. You can pause the video if you need more time, but the answer is rook to d8 checkmate. This is checkmate because the king is in check thanks to the rook on d8. The king can't move to f8 or d7 because the rook controls both those squares. The king can't move to e7 because the bishop on g5 controls that square. And the king can't capture the rook on d8 because the bishop is defending the rook. There's nothing else that can capture the d8 rook, and there's no space in between the check, so there's nothing that can physically block this check. The king can't move anywhere, and nothing can capture the rook, so this is checkmate. Epaulette mate is a type of chess checkmate. It involves a queen, two pieces from the checkmated side that can't move diagonally, and there's a reason why they can't move diagonally. You'll see that in the example, and the checkmated king. The checkmated king has to be on the side of the board, and the two pieces from the checkmated side have to be on either side of the king. Those are the two squares that the queen cannot control. The three squares that the king can move to are not on the side the queen controls. This definition can be confusing, but if you see the example, then come back to this definition, then the definition will be less confusing for you. So here's the example. The rook on d8 prevents the king from moving to d8, and the rook on f8 occupies the f8 square, so the king cannot move there either. The king can move to d7, e7, or f7 as the queen controls all three of the squares. There's nothing to capture the queen or block the check, so this is checkmate. Now imagine one or two of the rooks were actually bishops or queens. They could block the check and it wouldn't be checkmate. So that is why the pieces are not allowed to move diagonally. If it was on the H file or the A file, then one of those two pieces or both of the pieces could be pawns, and you'll see that in the your turn puzzle. And the piece can also be neither of the rest of the pieces. If it was a knight, it could have captured the queen. If it was a queen or a bishop, it could block the check. It can't be a king, of course. And it can only be a rook or a pawn. So that is how Epaulette's make works. So this is an example. This is a puzzle that you need to solve. You have 30 seconds. It's blocked to play. If you need more time, you can always pause the timer. But your time starts now. Time is up. The correct answer is queen to e3, checkmate. The king is in check thanks to the queen on e3. The king can't move to f2, e2, or d2 because all of those squares are controlled by the queen. And the king can't move to f1 or d1 because those squares are occupied by the white rooks. There's nothing to block the check or capture the queen, so this is checkmate. In this puzzle, it's on the side instead of the edge of the board, It's not on the 8th rank or the 1st rank. It's on the H file this time, is what I mean. And it's white to play. You have 30 seconds starting now. Remember, you can always pause the video if you need more time. Time is up. The correct answer is queen to f6 checkmate. The king is in check thanks to the f6 queen. The king can't move to g7, g6, or g5 because all three of those squares are controlled by the queen. The king can't move to h7 or h5 because both of those squares are occupied by black rooks, and there's nothing to block the check or capture the queen. Therefore, this is checkmate. Let's move on to the next puzzle, where it's white to play, and you have 30 seconds to solve the puzzle. If you need more time, you can always pause the video, and your time starts now. Time is up. The correct move is queen to f6. The king is in check thanks to the f6 queen. The king can't move to e7, f7, or g7 because the queen on f6 controls all three of those squares. And the king can't move to e8 or g8 because those squares are occupied by the black rooks. There's nothing to block the check or capture the queen, so this is checkmate. Your turn. Here's the your turn puzzle, and as I mentioned before, a pawn can be a replacement for the rooks, for one of the rooks or both of the rooks. In this case, it's on the side, so the h5 pawn can act as a rook. That's your hint. It's white to play, and the answer will be in next week's video. And I hope you enjoyed. If you have any feedback, you can post it in the comments or in the form in the description of all videos. The form is completely anonymous, so I won't know who filled it out. Please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this one because it takes a lot of time and effort to make these videos. You can visit the chess playlist to see all the chess videos. Thanks for watching, and goodbye!